Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So I've got a Nintendo Entertainment System that I'm going to be spraying today at home. I've wanted to spray this thing for ages. It was actually around the time that I sprayed my Nintendo 64. I did like a 007 Nintendo 64. Around that time I had this Nintendo Entertainment System broken apart, took it into work, and I just got tired of the long days, and I just never got time to do it. So it was like a year and a half ago I've had this thing split apart and I wanted to spray it. So finally, it seems that I've got some time off work. I've got a couple of weeks, I'm just hanging around here in Perth, and I've got everything here that I need to give it a nice custom paint job. So this thing here, I'll put you on the head cam here so you can follow exactly what I'm looking at. So as you can see here, like originally these things are meant to be similar color to that, and I don't know, they're just pretty boring looking. They used to get called the toaster for a reason, because they are pretty boring to look at, and I just thought we'll give it a bit of life to it and give it a custom paint. So originally I wasn't quite sure exactly what to do with it, but I think this is going to be the best way to do it. And just a nice neat Nintendo logo straight through the guts there, and then I've got a Nintendo Entertainment System logo, and that is going to go on the lid here. So that lid sits like that, and that's just going to sit here. It's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit bigger than what it actually originally. Yeah, I can see here, just see the logo, the Nintendo logo is only around that size originally, and then yeah, this writing's a little bit smaller, so slightly different, but I think that's probably going to even look better, just a bit bigger. So we're going to do it nice and glossy. We're going to have red Nintendo here, and then sort of a similar color to this. I think it's a little bit brighter and cleaner, because I don't know, that looks pretty boring old color. So yeah, I know some people are going to be saying, oh, how dare you, you know, this is a 30-year-old console that you should be preserving in its original state. The way I look at that is, I'm not telling you what to do with your things. This is mine, I own this, I bought this outright. I'm allowed to do what I want with it, and I think I'm going to be doing it justice. I'm going to be turning it into something that I can not just play, but display, you know, because that's really boring, the way that that's yellowed out. And I am well aware that you can actually restore these. There's some, I think Adam Karalik or one of those guys did a video on how to actually restore these things, or it might have even been Metal Jesus, where you can like wipe this, I think it's like a hair shampoo or some sort of a bleach or something. You wrap it up in plastic, you put it out in the sun for a couple of days, and it brings it back up to very close to new. But I'm not interested in that. I'm a spray painter, and I want to make this thing look awesome and nice and shiny. I like shiny things. So I actually fixed this thing. Like I'm sure anyone who's used an NES before is well aware of the lights that they used to flash, and you used to have to blow in the cartridge. So I actually fixed this Nintendo. The main board is in my home there, but what I did was I changed the 72-pin socket, so I changed that out, and then I got the original copy of Final Fantasy. Like, I've been a Final Fantasy fan for years, and I bought the original Final Fantasy. It was like $180 or something on eBay. I didn't realize when I bought it that it's the the NTSC version. So I had to actually do like a little bit of modding, not really high-tech modding or anything. All you got to do is just carefully cut one of the pins on the main board. So this is actually a working Nintendo. So by the time I actually get around to getting this thing painted and putting it back together, I've got a Nintendo, an NES that I can actually play, and I've got games like Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers 1, Excite Bike. I've actually got a decent collection. Maybe I'll go through that at the end of the video or something. But anyway, enough gas bagging, enough of an intro. Although, yes, that's right, did I say that? I've got myself a bit of a small compressor, so I set this thing up last week. It's like $217. So just a little Black Ridge thing. It was on special, so I think like full price might have been like $300 or something, but $217, man, you can't go wrong with that. And another thing worth having if you do have a compressor is a way to get the moisture out of the air, and I was lucky enough, it was just perfect timing and everything. these guys from the USA, they said, oh, we've got like this filter that we'd like to send out to you to demo and, you know, show your subscribers. And I'm like, perfect timing, man, because I'm just about to get a compressor. So that's this thing. So look, I don't know how it works yet. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's, yeah, steel camel. These guys are from Florida, I believe. And yeah, we'll just see how this thing goes. If it works, it looks like it could be a good, cheap little water trap, you know. So and that's the last thing you want. The last thing you want is to start spraying, and all the moisture that's in the air comes into your compressor, right? And this standard compressor, this doesn't take any of that moisture out, but this thing should, if it works properly, which I got a feeling that it will. Anyway, all that aside, let's get into it. So a lot of these, like, I've got so much stuff here. I've got everything I need, except for one thing. Like 3 weeks ago, I took some plastic primer from work. I told the boss, obviously, I don't steal things off my boss. Like, I got a few things, and I just told him, I said, hey, do you want a couple of bucks for it? He said, don't worry about it, just take it. But yeah, I got some plastic primer, and I put it into one of these little plastic mixing cups, and it's jelly, man, it's gone. So I am a little bit concerned about adhesion. So I'm just gonna have to cross my fingers that it doesn't. The main thing I'm worried about is having it peel up when I'm doing the stencils, you know. So once I put the color down, and then when I'm peeling those stencils up, that's the only time it's really gonna do it. But I'm gonna just put some 2-pack primer down instead. So first up, for today, all I need to do, so my plan is what I showed you before. It's gonna have Nintendo over here, and then it's going to have, on this lid, it's gonna have the Nintendo Entertainment System writing. So all I really need to do is prep these up. It's only gonna take 5 or so minutes, and I've got these pads over here. These are actually given to us as trial products, so at work. So just give them a bit of a scuff down like that. And I'm going to do a little bit of wet on wet priming. So I wonder if we're going to see any of the inside of that lid. Probably not. Probably don't really need to get too worried about spraying. Although I guess you want to get all this edge, because you'll see some of that when it's on there. Yeah, I'll try and rig that up onto a bit of cardboard or something like that. We'll figure something out. So yeah, what we need to do today is give it a quick scuff down, get the primer. The hardener for my primer's gone, but I've got some quartz primer hardener in there, so that'll be fine. Get the primer down, and then I'm just going to wet on wet, so not sanding or anything. I might just put it in the sun for 5 minutes. As you can see, we've got some beautiful sun out there today. It's a Australian summer here at the moment, and then yeah, I guess by the time that I get the red into the gun, that'll probably just be right to go. And yeah, we'll see how far we get today. I'm going to have to do this in a few stages because we've got our drying times and everything, obviously. But yeah, let's just get into it. I've been gas bagging enough. I can probably talk and work at the same time, really. But look, if some of these parts here aren't 100% perfect, well, I'm not too fussed. Like, just get you can see that it's got like a bit of a textured finish to it. I did actually start sanding this down last night, so just sitting out there. It's a nice summer's afternoon. Yeah, I think that scuffing into this will probably be enough to give us our adhesion, and using that primer will probably do the rest of it. But yes, in a ideal world, I would have some plastic adhesion promoter or plastic primer. So I think what I'm going to do also is, yeah, I think I'll keep with that black theme down here. So I think I will, yeah, I'll keep these black. I might even try and save the 1 and 2. Yes, I will. I'll save that 1 and 2. Might just mask over that section and give the rest of it another nice coat of fresh black. Although I do only have 1 controller on this thing anyway. And no friends to play it with. It's all good. So yeah, I always keep a lot of these boxes, well, not all of them, but I keep a lot of these handy looking boxes because, you know, just use them to spray things on and that. There goes my phone. I was actually quite impressed at the pressure that compressor held. So last Thursday night, I started rigging up this airline and that water trap. And then, because I flicked the compressor on that day, and then flicked it off and unplugged the airline, and it was still like at 30 PSI today. I was like, wow, that thing's bloody airtight as. Doesn't leak at all. Sure that'll change over time. I reckon that's probably about good enough. We'll just give that a dust down, dust it off, and set it up and get some paint mixed up. Yeah, we've got a little bit of damage there. I don't want to go and paint over that. I'm not sure that's going to quite come out. I might have to put a little bit of filler into that one. I'm not happy with that. Have no fear, I have everything I need. Even a bit scratchy across the front there too. Just check if they are going to come out first. Some of these deeper ones aren't what it looks of it. Just a couple across here that I'll fill up too. It's all good. And how's this looking? No scratches on that. It's all good. So yes, there is my filler now. I used this last time and it's no good. It's more of a rough filler. I mean, I'm sure it's okay for doing full-on bog repairs. It might be okay, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So clean that applicator down a bit, and I got some stock in here. Have a look at that beautiful garden. Ah, there we go. Light putty and universal putty. I'll go for the light putty, thank you. That should only take a few minutes to dry. Alright, so ready to start mixing up my paint now. I've got them all prepped up and ready to go here. So I fixed up, you can barely even see it, a couple of minute little scratches there. That was a decent sized one there, but finished it all off with 500 grit, and this is just some Challenger primer, just cheap stuff, 2-pack primer though. So I'm going to get it thinned down a little bit to make it lay down nicely. This has been sitting in this pot for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it started separating a bit. These plastic pots aren't really ideal for storing paint in. It's not going to last anywhere near as long as what it should in a proper steel can. So 4:1 is the ratio. And I think I mentioned at the start of this video that the hardeners had gone off within just a couple of weeks. So get that lid back on. And what do we got here? VOC filler hardener. So yeah, that's what I'm going to have to use in place of the Challenger hardener that's meant to be in there, but this will do. If I can get in there. Nothing wrong with a little bit of mix and matching, mate. Been doing it for years when the need arises. Obviously certain things that you can't do or shouldn't do. So yeah, this is the thinner I'm using, just the VOC Performance Speedstar, which is generally used in the quartz liquid glass. Probably a good idea to actually wear that respirator when you're stirring your paints up and that, when you're mixing your paint. But I want it to be nice and thin, so it's going to dry quickly and it's going to lay down nice and smooth. I don't want it thick and orange peely. So the gun I've got here, this gun, I don't know why, it just seems too good to use at work. It's a weird reason not to use it, but I just decided, you know what, that can be my home gun and it's gonna be perfect. So it's got low air consumption because it's a smaller gun. So I've already turned that compressor on and it should be pretty close to full. And then what I'm going to do is see how we go. Oh, hold on, I've got to plug that thing back in. There must be a very small leak around one of these fittings somewhere, although it is all thread taped. I've got a leak here too. I'm going to have to fix that off. I've got some thread tape there. It's around here somewhere, and a smaller one over there somewhere. Let's just go low pressure. What's that, 1 bar? Get that respirator on. Oh, that's on spot. Don't want that. Alright, so I'm going to put that in the sun for a bit and then clean that gun out. So I'm going to give that primer a bit of a sun bake. I don't think that should take too long to dry, really. I think I'll give that a light scuff back. There's a few nibs in there before I put the base coat down. Rightio, so I gave that literally like 10 minutes in that West Aussie sun and that's tacked off already. So I'm not gonna like go all out with the prepping. It's more just of a denib, like silly me. I totally forgot to tack rag it and give it a good blowdown. I don't know why, it's like you just feel when you're outside of the normal environment, things have changed, and I literally, like, rookie error, I at work would never forget to do something like that, but as I say, all I'm really doing is just giving it a bit of a denib, those few bits of dust that did land into it, nib them out, and we'll continue on. And it's really mainly where I'm going to be putting the red of the Nintendo logo. And I will give it a tack rag this time. What do you reckon, guys? Not a bad idea. So that should do it. So I'll give that a good blowdown and a tack rag. I'm just going to blow it down with the spray gun. And I've got a tack rag here. Alright, so I'll get that fan opened up. So I'll put it on the spot just to get more pressure out of it. not see-through. That's all covered. Just 2 quick coats. That's the HP red, so high pigment. Got it a bit cleaner this time. And we'll whack it out in the sun. So I've just given the gun a quick clean out. I've got the console sitting out there in the sun, and that is drying in absolutely no time. So now is time to get these stencils ready. So it's been a while since I've done this, but you want to kind of pull it back on this sort of a angle, making sure it doesn't pull up off the backing. That's looking alright so far. I've got my airbrush needle there handy, need be. That's it. Beautiful. That's one. So this one here is just going to be a slap it on type thing. Alright, so that is our stencils down, and let's get some base colour down. I'm looking forward to unmasking it and getting some clear on it. Where to put my gun? There it is. I'm not even going to wear gloves. Rightio, so that's been in the sun about 10 minutes or so. All I did was just cleaned out the base coat gun, and that should, yeah, that's right to unmask. So the guy got these stencils, I said best leaving it for like 2 hours if you can. Last time I sort of jumped the gun a little bit and it worked, and as you can see here it is working just fine. So what I am going to do is paint this bit here black, but I want to get it all cleared down first. The whole thing needs a flow coat anyway, so this battery is about to run out. So I might even just flick that camera for a minute just so you can watch me clearing it. So I get that footage. Yeah, but you can see it's coming together. You can get the basic idea of what I'm doing. Just get that edge of the airbrush needle under there and peel it up. Alrighty, I'll flick it back on when I'm ready to clear.
Whoop whoop, looking good. I'm digging. Alright, so I'm going to give that a couple of minutes to set up, to flash off. Going to go out and get out of here with all the dust and the overspray, sorry. I think I might even put 3 coats on it this time, at least 3 on these spaces that I need to sand back flat. Radio, so yep, gonna put this last coat of clear down. I put 2 coats on already, I didn't record the second one. And gave it 10 minutes. Lots of dust landing in it. I'm going to give that gun a quick clean out, and that's me for the day. Just shut this up, leave the overspray, it can die down in here.
Rightio YouTube, so today's day 2. I ended up putting the Nintendo out in the sun most of the day today, so it's pretty well cured. It's still a little bit fresh, but I'm not too worried about that. I actually want it to be a little bit fresh because when 2-pack clear goes like full on hard, when 2-pack clear goes really, really hard, it's really hard to polish. And yeah, so what I'm going to do today, I've changed the plans a little bit from original. I actually had a look at this base piece of the NES, and I'm like, there's no need in painting it. Like, it's in quite good condition, really. Like, it's not perfect, but I just decided, you know what, it's not even worth it. So I'm going to leave that, and we're going to be focusing on this lid. And I've also decided that I'm not even going to re-clear that lid, because I reckon if I re-clear it, I'm just going to get more nibs in it, and I'm going to have to polish it anyway. So I'm just happy with how it's looking. Like, the only thing that's really happened is not a great deal of gloss. Actually, now I look at it in the light, we have lost a bit of gloss, but we'll just get that up with the buff, I reckon, and we've filled most of that edge in. Sure, it's not perfect, but for all intents and purposes, I reckon a polish is going to get that looking really good, and good enough to keep me happy. So what I've got to do next is spray this section here black, and these are the corresponding parts that fit in along here. So I gave it a quick scuff down with these soft pads that I've got. I've already got some base coat black in the gun. I did actually decide to put a little bit of hardener in with the base coat just to give it a little bit more gloss. So that's the hardener I put in with it. This is the base coat I use, so just base coat deep black, and I know it's the wrong thinners, but I just put that thinners in there. Again, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of mix and match within certain limits, obviously. So yeah, this is all prepped up and ready to mask. So there we go, just the local newspaper for a bit of masking. I don't have a paper machine here at home, but this is going to do us just fine. So today is actually Christmas Day, and there's nothing else I would rather be doing. Well, I'm actually from Victoria. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm living in Perth now, so that's basically 3,500 kilometers away from the rest of my family. So I actually ended up gate crashing a friend's Christmas lunch. Well, we didn't actually eat lunch there, but we just dropped over for an hour, and you know, it was good. Went over there with the missus, and yeah, just had a bit of a chat, and then came home, and Had a big lunch today, had like, yeah, lobsters and prawns and all that good stuff as you do on Christmas Day. But then I decided, you know what? I just want to go out and finish this NES. I'm really looking forward to getting it back together and turning it on. So I thought I'd just get the black onto this for now. I might come right down that line actually, make it look nice and neat. I think that's it. I don't think you're going to see much of this anyway, but just in case you do, get it nice. And then over this side here, I think we'll just go a couple of strips of tape will probably do us. Line's not quite straight down here. It's better. So I've got that little lid that pops up here. I've got that in the other shed next door, and this base coat's not going to take long to dry. We've got a little bit of sun left over there, so I reckon by the time I polish up the lid, this base coat will be dry enough to polish this part up, and then I'm going to go in and fit it all up tonight. Why not? If I remember how to do it. It's been a while. Let's get this compressor on first. Get some air in there. Alright, so I'm going to unmask this first. I'll get the tape off and then we'll get it out into the sun. This shouldn't take too long to dry. Ah, that's looking better. It's looking more like it. Definitely. Rightio, so I'll just leave these sitting out in the sun. It'll probably only take 5 or 10 minutes for that to dry down. And I've got this little lid in here, and I'll give that a deneb. I did notice this morning, so I charged this up, and it's pretty piss weak really. It'll probably just be enough to get me through today, but it doesn't have a great deal of power to it. Just give that a light ding with a bit of 2000 grit. I had one ready before. There it is. I think I even had myself a little water squirter last time. Lost it. It's alright, get some out of this bottle. I got a bit of 2000 grit here, and then just scuffed it all back with a little bit of water, and then I got this pad here, just on the mini drill there, which is pretty gutless to be honest. I've got that thing cranked right up to 16 and it's not doing much, but it's probably perfect tool for this job. I guess you don't want to go and cut through on all the edges and stuff like that. So, man, that probably took about, it seemed like it took half an hour, but it was probably only really 10 minutes. To buff that up, but yeah, I had to go over it like a few times. So I used the 1200 fast cut, and I then switched the pad over to the lamb tool one. Sorry about that. Sorry, camera work. So 1200 fast cut first up, and then switched over to the lamb tool pad for the 2000, which is the one step. I call it step 2, and then the finishing one, the 2500 with the Cordsons. I'm about to wipe it off and see how it looks. So I thought I'd flick the cam back on. Actually running out of batteries in this thing at the moment, so I flicked it off when I was doing most of the work on this, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. It's not perfect, it's a little bit scratchy here and there still, but honestly, man, for what it is, I'm really happy. And at the end of the day, I'm the only one that has to really be impressed with it. It is mine after all. So hopefully we're not going to go and peel off any of that black. Put my prep work to the test. And I didn't damage it, because I didn't actually leave that black drying for very long. It was only like 10 minutes out in the sun, so I was tempted to leave it, but I just wanted to get this job finished off. I'm kind of keen to get it back together and see how it looks, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah, the next step is for me to go into my office, get a screwdriver, and get that board back in, and I'll be able to flick this thing on tonight. Yeah, I'm keen, so I'm gonna turn that cam off again, and we'll give you a look at it when it's all done. How cool is that? Rightio YouTube, so here we are. This is the custom painted NES, all finished off, back together and working. I should have actually plugged it in to do the end of this video, but yes, I have tested it and it is working. There's something weird about it, but it's like when it's sitting up like this, it works. Like, so that's Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. But when it's going, when it's pushed into place correctly like that, it actually doesn't even work. So a bit of a fickle old beast of a thing, but it still works. So yeah, I've got rid of the blinking red light of death, looking quite nice on my custom painted gaming table. I did a video on this one too. This thing's still looking pretty cool. Even the custom painted N64, that thing's still looking really good. I think this one's just the next level above as far as quality goes, but I was able to do that at work, and that one got flow coated. But honestly, man, I'm really happy with that. But what I do have down here is yeah, an NES classic, and that's the way to go, really. You know, you're probably better off getting one of these than doing up an old Nintendo. My mum actually gave that to me for my Christmas gift this year, and I've been playing a lot of that. It's actually got Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link on it, and that game is brutally hard, man. It is just like, I don't know how I ever liked that when I was a kid, but there's something about gaming, like retro gaming, that I hold, you know, dear to my heart, with maybe a little bit of nostalgia there. But even then, I can still go back and have a lot of fun playing these old games. Like, it was back in an era when games were actually really challenging, like really quite difficult. And I think I was been thinking about it a little bit. Like, back in those days, you'd sit on the game for like half an hour to an hour, and you just get stuck, and you go outside and play. Nowadays, it's more like, you know, 12-hour gaming sessions online and all that. There wasn't really any online back in the NES days. Well, not that I knew of. There may well have been some, but it wasn't popular anyway. So yeah, I've got the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. I actually modded that to play, obviously, some games that I have in my own library. But yeah, this thing here, the NES Classic, have a look at how short this lead is. It is a joke. But what I actually found was that the SNES controller actually fits into your NES, so I've been using that, and yeah, it's like you've got to basically sit with this thing like right next to you, because if you use the original control, plus those original controllers, man, they're really uncomfortable, like holding a square. That's probably another part of the reason you wouldn't play the NES for too long, because they weren't that comfortable in the hand. Like, yeah, they're digging into your hands. So yeah, that's another thing that I did say at the very start of this video. I said I was going to maybe give you guys a look at my NES collection. So this is some of them, mainly all boxed. I think I do have some more games somewhere. So Faxanadu in the box, that's like a, you know, pretty cool RPG, like old school one. Obviously the original Super Mario Brothers, the original Final Fantasy. Yes, it was originally a Nintendo title. Diddy Kong Racing, that's a 64 game. Marble Madness, Star Wars, Super Mario Brothers 3, Dr. Mario, and Excitebike. So most of these games, except for a couple of them, I think, yeah, 3 or 4 of them may not be on that NES Classic Mini. So, you know, there might come a day and I'll be like, hey, I'll crank that Nintendo out and have a few games on it. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Get out there and paint some shit. Coming out.